Welcome back to the show, everyone. What do insurance, isolation, and loneliness have to do with hearing loss? Well, here to connect the dots for us, we've got Stuart Spencer from Advanced Ear Care with us.
Yeah, thank you, Bree.
Hello.
Nice to be here.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
Kind of a sad topic, but you're going to shed some light on how you can make everything all better.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of times we come on, talk about technology, all the advances in AI and, how sound is processed electronically and stimulating the brain, But, the impact, we see is really pulling people, out of this isolation and loneliness. And it's really been, tragic, to see people over the last 40 years that we've seen be stuck in that just because they don't get the sound from here to here, where they can really hear the conversations, interact with people in groups. We see people, always, complaining about the retirement home dining room, It's like a restaurant to them, every night, every day, they're in there in those environments and they're just isolated, they're just, they don't sit with anybody because people get frustrated with them,
Right.
And then they feel lonely, and so they don't interact. And it goes beyond that, it goes to their social activities and their social life, and they just feel kind of left out. And so, that's the issue we resolve, we pull them back into those conversations, stimulate their hearing through the use of these amazing devices we have now that are more like, hearing computers than they are the old-fashioned hearing aids. And so, it's, it gives them brain power. When we can stimulate the brain that way, they can start to interact, start to hear the sounds they want to hear, and be much more engaged in their environments.
It reminds me of some of those video clips where a baby has never heard before, and all of a sudden they're able to hear, and that little baby just comes alive.
Yeah.
So it's no different in our later years as that is declining, but I think for the most part, people just don't want to admit. Is that correct?
Well,
that's slowly declining.
That's it. That's some of it, but some of it is they just don't know.
Right.
Because that's normal hearing to them. It's been so gradual and it's so invisible and it's so painless. They just slide into that and they think that's normal hearing. And then we stimulate that, we show them exactly how much better. They're like, oh my gosh. And you can always see it in their eyes. Mm-hmm. They just like light up.
Right.
It's like, wow, that's better.
Exactly.
And so, that's the fun part of our business, is pulling people back into the environments they like to.
So when you do have family members that are frustrated with parents or aunt and uncles or whatever.
Yeah.
And they keep having to repeat themselves over and over again, but the person thinks that they hear just fine. How do you bridge that gap from families frustrated to getting that person in your office?
Yeah, really I think with just a lot of true, honest conversation, just saying, Dad, you're not hearing as well, as you need to be. You're missing this, I'm repeating all the time, the TV's up way too loud, and
that's another signal, isn't it?
And, we just really need to get it checked, that's all. And if it's fine, it's fine.
Right.
That's okay too.
Right.
But if not, we should see what the alternatives are. And when they're in those kind of environments, we show them, how much better they can hear, and they get it right away. Finally, that whole isolation, that whole denial, is kind of broken. And it's really not so much about the stigmatism as it is the relief and the impact it has on their life.
And so they'll never go back, right?
Right, yeah, that's right. Once they know the difference, it's like, oh my gosh, I should have done this a long time ago.
But like you said, it's so gradual, they probably don't even know that it's declining.
Right.
And everything else just needs to amplify.
You're right, around them, yeah.
Around them.
It's corrected everywhere else, right? The radio goes out, the TV goes out, the people repeat, all
exactly.
that. Yeah.
And then people find themselves yelling, and it's just going nowhere fast.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
And the other thing too, Stuart, I think we want to touch on is a lot of people don't understand or realize that these costs could be covered by insurance.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, it's
because
amazing.
Because that's a complicated subject matter in and of itself.
It is. And Bree, some insurance companies even provide hearing aids at no charge to people. And they're just not aware of it. Really? And other people just, it's a complicated thing to dive into, but we do it for the people. if they just give us their insurance information, we have a whole team of insurance specialists that call, find out their copays, find out their deductibles, look into their Plan B, hearing aid benefits, and really drill down into all that detail. And we have a lot of different options for people that fit into those different programs that are extremely successful.
Really?
Yes.
How long does that whole process take? Because it kind of seems like it might be a little bit overwhelming to go through that. So is it just really a matter of a phone call or two?
Yeah, that's it. All they have to do is call us, make an appointment. We'll ask them for their information. We have a form we can send them. They just take a picture of the front and back of their insurance card and send it to us. It just takes a day or so. We find it out. Then when they come in, at the end of the appointment, we know exactly, what their benefits are, and we can explain all their options.
Mm-hmm. And when they do come in, can they leave that day with a hearing aid?
Yes.
So it doesn't have to take more time to...
Not at all. It just takes about an hour.
Really?
Test their hearing, show them the difference. We test them without their hearing aids, and then with hearing aids, show them the improvement. Many times people go from like 32% to like 92%. I mean, it's like, wow. It's a big deal. It's a life-changing thing. Exactly. It's stimulating that brain. We get more information to the brain. The brain does wonderful things with it.
Right.
And so they can leave that day and they'll hear better forever.
And they can re-engage in conversations with their family and friends. And
yes.
I would
just
imagine...
feel so much more comfortable, because what happens if you're not hearing, you're just always straining. Yes. It's just a real cognitive load, especially after a large, social situation, a big, family gathering, a wedding, those type of things. People are just trying so hard to hear, that it's just not there. They feel fatigued.
Are they hearing the surrounding sounds more than the voice? In other words, music or loud noises?
Right. That's what, these new, artificial intelligence hearing aids do, is they look at those sounds, something ridiculous, like 20,000 times a second. With this new Eris product we have, and even when you move your head, it changes the way that the hearing aids are focusing on sound and background noise and shifts that signal to noise ratio, so you drop that noise and you can hear the speech more clearly.
Right, right.
Pretty amazing.
Very amazing.
Yeah,
very
it has
amazing.
a big impact on people's lives.
I know that this is a massive technological advancement, but do you see anything new coming for this year, for 26?
We're always getting better. This team we have with AI, you don't just start, using AI technology. We've done that research and done that type of processing for the last 15 years. So we're way ahead of the game with this Eris Audibel product, and it's really making an impact. People that are even wearing good hearing aids come and wear these, they go, oh my gosh. Instantly they hear the difference in the clarity. It's just been fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the best thing we've ever had, and they will get better.
I'm surprised that there's even room to get better. I suppose there always is. But...
Yeah, I tell you, I would have never dreamed we'd have this kind of availability of, being able to manipulate somebody's hearing like this, like we do today. Even 10 years ago, I couldn't fathom, the improvements we can give people.
Really?
Yeah, it's really been fun.
And this is all programmed with an app on the phone, right?
Well, it's programmed through our computers. We give people access, on their phones to make certain changes, that they may want to make. But honestly, Bree, people are just putting these hearing aids on, wearing and hearing better, and all you have to do, is just put these on, and that's just that way.
I have no idea that that's even there.
Yeah, and these are so automatic, there isn't a lot of adjustment or fiddling with your phone. Now
but in terms of updates,
yep.
So that they don't have to get a new pair every couple of years, but you just update the software.
So it's the firmware in the hearing aid that we update, but that's exactly right. So when they come out with new algorithms, we just upload the algorithms into the present hearing aid they're wearing, and they just get that enhancement as the time goes on. And it's pretty amazing.
That's fascinating.
It is fascinating. It's very powerful.
Yeah. Now, do they do the same thing for babies, for children?
So that's a little different. That's a pediatric thing. It depends on if they're hearing aids or if they're cochlear implants. That's a whole different world.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting. It's a very exciting world. And
yes, we're able to help people better than others. So all they have to do is just make a small decision, to come in and have it checked, or to see, if the hearing aid that they're presently wearing is doing what it should be for them, or if there is something better. And then we can explore those, insurance alternatives and see exactly, what really is best suited for them.
Well, how do they come see you?
All they have to do is give us a call at 354-0040.
Where's your office located?
Right here on the corner of Moulton and El Toro, right next to Aldi's in that shopping center. So we're right around the corner. All the buses go there, you know. We're easy to find, advanced ear care. So give us a call.
Yes, absolutely. Nothing to lose, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
Nothing to lose, except for gaining your hearing back.
Yeah.
Stuart, always such a pleasure.
Oh, thank you, Bree. Nice to be here.
Thank you for coming. You're watching This Day on Village TV. We'll be back after these messages.